This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Retirement concept seems, okay, I'll just do nothing. But we've been on that side.
Yeah.
And we've discovered it's empty.
Yeah, felt like there was something kind of missing.
I love it so much.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't expect this to happen.
Really?
Podcast in the van?
I've been bugging you for a million years for it.
That's true.
With this video, part 2, after I released my Hello, I'm back to YouTube after my year of semi-retirement, this video is more lessons that I've learnt from my time off. And this is where I wanted to bring in a dear friend of mine that I adore so much, Modern Tarzan, Nicholas Coolridge.
And Coolridge also has a huge following online. He battled through it and finished with just seconds to spare. Speak up the mic.
Hello.
Drop the mic. Speak up the mic.
Hello?
My name is Rel.
My name is Tarzan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I wanted to have you on like an episode because it seems like both of us were experiencing a similar moment in time in our lives where we went from really hustling and grinding, doing so much work, and then all of a sudden something happened to us and we just couldn't really work so hard and we really took time away. I felt like I was in semi-retirement and I called it that consciously so I would not feel guilty for not working as hard as I used to. And then I witnessed that you were in a similar flow as well. Like work no longer became such a priority for you. Why? What happened?
When I moved down to LA, the priority was hustle. You know, it was like, come down, like see what I can do for myself. Like I set a goal, like I accomplished that goal, set another goal, accomplished that goal. I started to see myself at the finish line. And I thought, what do I do after the finish line? Because also I live in a van, my overhead's super low. I can already basically retire myself and experience what it's like to have as much freedom in my world as I desire. But then it got to a point where something didn't feel fully satisfied.
I was chasing financial gain, reached millionaire status by the age of 30, have now 12 properties. And it was weird because all of a sudden I was at the finish line as well. Like, hey, I've arrived. Like I got all the goals I ever dreamed of that were on my vision board, and I never set any goals beyond that. And so I didn't know what to do with myself. And I didn't want to pursue another financial goal. It just seemed stupid. It seemed pointless. I just thought I was broken, actually, for a while. I was like, I can't seem to do anything anymore. And I used to be so driven and so inspired. And so having someone that is experiencing a similar situation as me really made me feel calm and knowing that I'm not alone, I guess. The thing that I loved during our discussions is when you raise the point of throughout your time you found that productivity was really important for the joy and fulfillment of a being. And so when you said that, I was like, whoa. So I started focusing a little bit on like, what could productivity look like in a more balanced way? Because I don't want to go back to hustle, Sorrel.
Yeah. There's some quote I've heard, it's like a static mind leads to the devil or something like heavy, like if you're not like staying busy, you can kind of go down into like dark holes.
What?
Yeah. So
I wish I knew that during 2020.
Well, I knew that and I still went there because I felt like there was something to find. Like I felt like this is something that people kind of avoid, right? What am I avoiding something? Am I distracting my mind from something more? Is there something more that I can discover into this darkness? And me as someone that like kind of faces fears and goes deep into things and like pushes the limits of life, like I like knowing edges and I like exploring. So I started to kind of explore into that world a bit. The things that I thought about, we could talk about for days. Yeah. We're just talking about this one portion of things right now. Something that I kind of came to a really nice realization of was how important, I'm just putting the word productivity on it. I've also now changed it also into like maybe the word purpose, something that feels like you're working towards something, a goal. If you don't have kind of some sort of a path, you can feel kind of lost. And that's where for me, the path of growth in the financial world started to just feel a bit redundant. It was like, when is this gonna end? And is this actually what I want to be doing? And naturally, as you make more money, you just kind of keep upping your goals and making more money instead of just being like, oh, I made the amount of money that I desired to make. It's like, it becomes easier to make more money as you make more money. So naturally, you start just kind of getting that ball rolling, and you're like, well, I shouldn't stop now. The ball's rolling. The iron's high. I should keep going. But I just like, I don't know. I think I just like saw it like not leading to what I desired in life. It just didn't seem like it was going to really make my life any better. But again, we still need to have that like that purpose, some sort of a goal. And that's been really challenging for me. That's been really, really challenging for me to find outside of finances.
Yeah, we also discussed that during our time. Like now, for me, it's not financial things either, but it's so easy to attach a number to something and be like, oh, that's a tick. Although recently, I have to say, we've had different conversations about different aspects of life, and I never put a label of productivity on these. So like describing sex as something productive has changed my world. Because it's like, wait, that is productive. That's productive for relationships. That's productive for my happiness, my well-being. And so now seeing that as productive, and now I see, for example, movement as productive. Like, of course it's productive. I have to go and do handstands every day because it's good for my health. It's good for my body. That's productivity now. Whereas before it was productivity if I answered an amount of emails, if I made a video, if I did something that was related directly to my career. Whereas now eating great food is super productive because it gets my mind primed. Everything to keep my body functioning as optimally as possible is part of productivity now. And I think this is refreshing my life a little bit because I don't want to be just career driven. I don't really care to be that career driven, but I do need to fill my productivity cup up somehow.
I just saw that for me, the definition of productivity as you were talking there could be the balance of life, achieving the balance of your own personal life.
Ooh.
Right? So like, it's not necessarily, oh, you were productive, you got your work done. It's like, oh, you were productive, you've been efficiently balancing your life with all the different things that you need to do to thrive in life.
Oh, I like this.
And I wanted to blend in this like cups art piece that I want to create. You have all of these cups that need to be filled in life, and as we fill them, we balance out how we're feeling. Like our life can feel more satisfying and balanced. And the cups is different for everybody, and the sizes of the cups are different. But every cup also has holes in the bottom. So as we fill the cup is leaking. Let's see if I can like paint this picture. So basically, like there's a pool of water at the bottom, and at this point I've interpreted the water as time. And there's a pump, and the pump is like when you're doing something, the water is being pumped and then dropping into whatever cups you're filling currently in life. So like right now, we are, what could you say? We're connecting right now. We're creating a little bit of like human to human contact. That could be a cup, right? Like being with community is a cup, and we're filling that cup a little bit. We're also kind of like accomplishing some work related things that help us feel like we're working towards the goal that we're inspired by, which could be a little bit of a purpose cup, right? Even if you're sitting still and thinking, that could be considered like a cup meditation or something, just kind of like dropping in with yourself. Keeping these cups filled in a way that feels balanced is kind of how you feel like you're thriving in life. And it's really helped me to kind of try to visualize all of my cups that are important and think about, kind of drop into myself and feel, okay, what cup is not being filled, or what cup needs some filling? And it's been a challenge because sometimes I'll go and exercise and be like, oh my God, I feel so good. I just needed to exercise. And so my exercise cup was running low. So I exercise. It feels so good. And I'm like, I want to exercise all the time. It feels so good. So I exercise like day after day after day after day. But eventually my exercise cup is so full that it's just overfilling. And exercising becomes, it's just like kind of mundane. It doesn't really like feel as exciting and energetic and fulfilling as it did when I first started at the beginning of the week. And so that's the point where I've been recognizing, oh, okay, exercising was good then because my exercise cup was low. Now it's overfilling, and when I really drop in, some other cup is, maybe I was neglecting the food cup, or there's so many different cups to describe.
And I think finding the cups that represent what's important to you. Yeah,
everyone has their own individual cups.
And how big they are. I love that art piece. I'm looking forward to seeing that in real life.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice.
Yeah.
It's like almost The Sims for me.
The Sims?
I love The
Oh,
Sims.
they did kind of have that,
They
right? Like
have-
they have
yeah.
bars of things you need to like fill up. Yeah, I mean, like if we had that in our own life, it'd be kind of nice. You'd be like, oh, let's look at where I'm low. Oh, wow, I haven't been outside in nature in a while. I need to go and be in nature and fill that nature cup, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't like hang out with my family or talked to my family for a while. My family cup, community cup, physical contact cup, or like whatever the cups are that you have
Yep.
that helps you feel balanced. Paying attention to maintaining that like kind of balance and being aware that they're constantly draining, and you only have so much time to use to fill these cups. So it's like, yeah.
That's good. And helping to see the full art piece as productivity rather than just how we've been conditioned to see productivity only career-based.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting. It's so boring. But this way, you're like, oh, I'm being productive by making sure my art piece, life, is in balance. I love it. That's so nice.
Yeah, one of my recent cups, I didn't know what to label it. I was labeling it as productivity, but now I'm relabeling it as purpose. And realizing that cup for me has been kind of dry. And it's kind of a hard cup to fill because sometimes you don't know what your purpose is.
I actually made a video about the dangers of seeking a life purpose at one point.
Oh.
Because I found the pressure that we put on ourselves to have a purpose, and I'm realizing in this conversation is because it's been so linked to a career. And what am I here for? How am I going to change the world? It's like, how about you change your own world? We're good. Like, let's chill. We don't need to change the fucking world.
Yeah.
Like, can we relax? Why is everybody all of a sudden meant to change the world? That's a really big responsibility that we're giving everybody, especially the way that kids have been raised. And I was part of this generation. You're so special. You're going to change the world. You're going to do these amazing things in the world. It's like, what? Can I go for a swim now? Can I just enjoy my life? And I'm finding more and more personally that the more that I take care of my needs and desires, the more enjoyable my life becomes, and it can't help but ripple out to everybody else. And I think about it, a simple act of you taking care of yourself, not a simple act, that can be complicated, but then walking down the street and smiling at somebody. And it's not just the smile, because I know that there's vibrations behind every human being. So you feel it. Everybody feels it. You walk down the road and you feel somebody else's energy being really heavy, and you walk past that and it can either trickle into you, but then you also have the experiences of walking past someone that has higher vibrations, and just being in their presence, you're like unlocked and something happens and you just feel amazing. And so if everybody did that, imagine the vibrations that we're dealing with in the world and how different the world would be with everybody rising up and feeling great about their life, their bodies, their work. I used to think that taking care of yourself was a selfish act. I think it's like one of the most important acts to help us have a thriving world. And that's what we all want, a thriving world.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I think that mostly we're just misguided. I think that even like if we were able to kind of block out all the information that's been like projected at us, we would kind of know naturally how to like fill our own cups and balance our life out in a lot of ways. But instead, we tend to be guided by all the media outlets and stuff like that, and
Media, social media,
yeah,
parents.
social media, news, all that stuff. Your family, I would hope, their intention is to help you thrive, right? A lot of the other ones aren't necessarily intended for that, right? The ability to filter through that is really quite difficult.
I think there's a lot of pressure to feel valuable through the acts that you do. So you're valuable because you contribute this or you've done this. Me taking 2 years off and being a total blob has made me realize I'm still a valuable human, because I still am surrounded by the greatest people in the world. I'm still welcomed. I'm still loved. And it's not based on what I'm contributing. It's based on who I am. And I feel like I've been able to drop in more with people because I've taken this time off and I've become more grounded. So your value, I've realized, is not based around what it is that you contribute. It's totally based around, it can be based on different things. But for me, I like just the feeling of knowing that I'm still loved without having to do anything has been really healing. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So let me tell you about all these amazing features of Squarespace, because I have been using them well before they sponsored me. Huge fan of their work, and I really do recommend these websites because they do help you to have a beautiful online presence that actually works. The features that they've now incorporated are banging new editing interface. With Fluid Engine's flexible grid, place blocks anywhere, even overlapping other blocks, and resize them directly on the page. This one is a game changer because it allows you to have the website really customizable to suit exactly your needs. And then of course we have the 24/7 customer service from Squarespace, as well as the award-winning templates that allow you to look beautiful even if you do not have an eye for design. You have complete marketing tools, including email management, top analytic tools to track the performance of your website to continue refining and improving the results of your business in real time. Squarespace also hosts your content seamlessly, text, videos, and photos of course, but also audio blocks can be inserted in case you're a podcaster. You can see there are so many aspects of Squarespace that make it almost one-stop shop for everything online. So get on to this. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you are ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Sorel to get 10% of your first website or domain. One thing I just really want to say, like, you're the freest person that I know. And I've said this to you multiple times. Like, you have how many bills a year?
Yeah, I actually calculated that recently. There's like 6 bills, like, and they're mostly yearly bills, like not a month-to-month thing. If I can just acquire this much money in the year, which is not a lot, then my whole year is like basically paid for.
I asked you the other day, I was like, would you switch your life with anyone else? And it was like, absolutely not. It was such a concrete...
I've thought about that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a great question to ask. Like, if you were going to switch your life with someone else, why and what aspect of it? And then really drop in. Like, say someone's like, I just want to be rich and famous. Okay, let's break it down. Do you really want to be that famous that you can't walk down the street because everybody recognizes you and it becomes a prison? So you can't go anywhere. You're in a prison. Is that really what you want?
Yeah.
I've had to think about those kind of things as well. But I like your approach to freedom because you are the freest person I know. Because I pay an outrageous amount of bills. It takes up a shit ton of time. Bookkeeping, oh my God. An outrageous amount of time. I'm inspired by your life because the simplicity of it, you're well taking care of your needs, and your responsibilities that you've created for yourself are quite minimal. So you have a lot of time and freedom to just
do whatever I want.
Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. And that's a really tough question sometimes, actually. I will literally sit there and think, what do I want? And I've sat for days thinking about that question.
Yes. And that is something that I wanted to also touch on. The luxury of thought is acquired from being free. And I say that's the luxury of thought because most people cannot think the way that we have had the, I wanted to say pleasure, but I don't know if it's pleasure, of thinking so deeply, because it is
the torturous pleasure.
The torturous, at times, torturous pleasure of thinking too much. And as you said, the static mind will find the devil. I have found the devil in my thoughts because you have the chance to think way too much. I don't think the human mind is meant to contemplate this much. Maybe it is. See what the depths of the darkness you can find, but it's so intense, and it sounds like such a wanker thing to say. Like, we think too much. We sit around doing nothing. And I'm glad that there's somebody on this side of having achieved all this, like, oh my God, retirement and success and and now we get to say, hey, it's not it.
What's the purpose of it all?
Yeah.
And that's the question that's tormenting, I think, for me has been. What is the purpose of all this? Of life? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is, right?
I kind of have thought that too. You want me to wipe my ass? Why do I go to bed? And then I'm going to die anyway, so what the hell is the purpose of that?
Yeah, got like 3 things I want to touch on that all relate to that, I think. The first thing I want to start with is a quote from a book. I can't remember the book. I think it even said, like, the purpose of life is to be the best version of yourself in this very moment. Basically saying just, like, be absolute present, be absolutely authentic to who you are right now and for every moment moving forward. That really hit me to think, am I being the best version of myself right now? And then whenever I feel off, I sit with that. I sit with that in myself. If I feel life is kind of, I don't know, I feel like anxious, or I feel stressed, or I feel something that's not a desirable situation, I sit with myself and say, am I being the best version of myself right now? And so that's been a really big kind of like mindset for me that's helped me feel more balanced in life, I guess. And authenticity has been the big word for me of the year, in finding what authenticity is for me. Part of how I started to also rediscover a little bit of like who my deeper self is is venturing back into what my inner child is. You know, it's funny we say our inner child, but in all honesty, it's just us. It's not our child. It's inner us, right? Just because we're an adult doesn't mean the inner child, the inner us goes away now. But it does tend to go away. And that's a really big situation that a lot of people go through. Most people go through as they're growing up. They turn into an adult and their inner child goes away instead of adding to this inner child that we call. For me, it's felt the best to continue to incorporate all of my true inner desires and inner just visions and like whatever those are. Doesn't matter what they are. Everyone has their own unique version of that. And it's been really nice to start to really integrate that back into my life now. More than I've done before. I've already been decent at it, I'd say, at keeping that alive.
Yeah.
But it sways.
You're one of the few people I think in the world that I've met personally that are just so playful and joyful. And it was really funny because when I was doing my recap video of like my year off, semi-retirement, at the very beginning of the year in January, I said, I want to be more playful and joyful, and I have no idea how I'm going to do it. And I was lucky to manifest a great friend and such a beautiful, special person to me that has assisted this journey of like helping me blossom. And now joy and play is such a default in my life and movement. Like those three things, it's like that is my life now. And you're such a big part of that. So thank you. I want to say thank you.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure. And one thing that I've noticed though, and this is starting to surprise me because last year was my year of like, I'm just doing things for joy and pleasure and fun. Like I was like, my pleasure. What's the point of doing anything if you're not going to have like pleasure through it? Like you have to do some things that this goes into what? Non-violent communication?
Yeah, well, words that you use that influence your world.
You have to do it. Well, do you have to or do you choose to for different reasons?
We always choose to.
Yeah, full self-responsibility for the things that go on in your life. That's such a big topic as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people will argue hard with that.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
They will.
I have to do this. I should do this and I have to. Yeah, we can go on. That's a whole different topic. Nonviolent communication and...
read the book.
Oh, yeah. Any person that talks to another person in any way, shape, or form, in any language, will just benefit so greatly. Like humanity, the connections that we have and the way that we share or we try to share information through words to bring clarity, it's completely changed my life.
The thing going back to what I was saying is like, last year was all my year of joy and play, and that was my priority. And then I've had conversations with people randomly, like people that work in normal jobs, people that are really high functioning with great, huge careers. And I'm like, what are you excited about this year? And people's answers are not goal driven, not like accomplishments driven, not career driven even. They're just like, I just want to enjoy my life. I want to be present. I want to have pleasure. That's what this year is all about. I'm finding this one of the greatest shifts, and I'm hoping that this is throughout for a lot of people, but this is so cool that you get to prioritize the enjoyment of your life. Where did we get it wrong in the first place? I don't know, but I'm glad we're fucking switching it around now, because why not? You're going to die one day.
Yeah, no, I think that is everyone's goal. I think that's everyone's desire. It's more of, again, it's we're not often like guided towards that in a way that is actually helpful.
True. We are living in a really twisted society. The more that I've dropped in and seen like the facade of what we've been shown, how carefully curated the world has become for the benefit of a very few individuals. And when you sit and look back at like, you're taking 50% of my money for tax, but I'm grinding so hard. Like every single aspect that I see, I'm like, wow, it's so twisted and it's not for the benefit of people. And the more people that get to like step back after a while and reassess their life and take full responsibility and control of their life, the direction and their desires, whoa, it would shatter a lot of the current societal expectations. It would be so beautiful. Now that you are coming back a little bit more into purpose, what does that look like, the future?
It's mostly not trying to fight my inner desires. The things that, even if they feel like I should do this or I could do that, it's like the should really. I realized that I was talking to myself with a lot of shoulds. And we don't like to be like forced. We don't like to feel like we're we have to do something. We have to do something. Hey, you have to do that. You should do that. It has an interesting energy around it. Like, it doesn't feel as inspiring to me. It almost feels like it's a chore.
Mm-hmm.
When we say it that, it's something we generally don't actually really want to do. First of all, can I find a way to make this should do into a want? And if you can't, then I mean, you just clearly don't want to, and you probably shouldn't, or whatever. You do whatever you want. But if I can't find a way of turning my shoulds into a want, that's a really big, clear sign to me that I'm not going on a path, my truest path, that's going to help me thrive, which is the real desire in life, to thrive. My desire.
My camera died, so I have to like sit here now, and that one's overheating. It's so hot in here.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Okay.
We close everything up.
Okay, breakfast.
Breakfast time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Airplane, I'll be on you in a few hours. Going to a new adventure. It's going to be very joyful. I booked my ticket yesterday. I'm very spontaneous like that. So subscribe to find out where I'm next. Oh, fun. I'll see you in the next one.